again, it's just a beautiful glass, smooth finish. Just taking the sharp corners off because you don't want the corners actually back into the corners of the breech face. If you get any kind of little bit of a dirt debris, anything like that, it can foul you up. And you don't want a sharp corner back there anyway. I'm just taking kind of the sharp edges off of it. This is a fitting block, holds the feet straight while you're fitting it because it could do this on you. If you look, there it is, and it's a 0. As you can see, the barrel fit. It is, let me get it back out of here, it's free to move. It doesn't have any binding to it, and it is a fit first time, right in place. Cut it right to the measurements every time, no filing. Occasionally you may have to just clean the breech face a tiny bit, but this breech face is really clean and straight, and you can see there's no gaps in it, and it's a tight.
Okay, right there.
All I have to do now is double check for the amount of lockup, and we'll do that here in a moment with some with a dial indicator. And we want about 40 to 45 thousandths lockup to make sure we have proper engagement and that the firing pin lines up center of the firing or of the primer. So back in the early days of action pistol shooting, IPSC and all that, everybody was running 45s, and the barrel lockup wasn't quite as critical because it was a low pressure round. 18,000 to maybe 20,000 chamber pressure if you were jacking it up just a little bit. Then we decided we'd go to 38 supers, and that has the same chamber pressure of a 223. When I was shooting supers, I'd load like 7 grains of accurate 7, 125 grain bullet going 1,400 feet a second, and all of a sudden we started wiping the tops off of barrel loads, and we were breaking feet. Everybody's like, okay, what's going on? Then we determined that the locking lugs and the barrel locking lugs and the slide was a big deal. So we have to go, the minimum was like 35 thousandths. I'd take mine 40 to 45 thousandths. This is a 40. I could probably get by with 35 or 40 thousandths actual lock up. And it took us a little while to figure that out. The other thing is, when the ramp barrels first came out, they were totally square right here in this area. This was a 90-degree perfect cut, and we remember a lot of the Bomar barrels were 90 degrees here, and we'd shear that right off, and we couldn't figure out why. We were cutting the ramps in the frames, but we couldn't figure out what was going on. So they rounded this, and then they also rounded the brake here on the frame, and it took that stress off. So now my goal is to get about 40 to 45 thousandths lockup. I've already checked it, I've already cut it, I've already done the relief on the bull barrel because the bull barrel was parallel back to about right here, which meant it fit inside the slide, and then it wouldn't let it go because the bull barrel was too big of a profile and parallel with this, and it wouldn't let it pivot. So I've taken care of that. Now we're down to the point where we're going to measure and see how much the lockup we actually have. So I put this in my vise. And I want to get it as close to the front of the breech face as I possibly can without touching it. Then I'm going to move it forward, and I'm going to bring it up because that's my 0 point without it being locked in. I'm going to go 0 on my dial indicator. Get the fuzz off of it here. A little pressure on it. Now I'm going to move it back and lock it, and look there, I'm at 44. Great shape. This is going to be a great lockup, great fit, and no worries about the locking lugs or damaging the top of the barrel or the slide, either one.